that's asking a lot. You would essentially just view this piece as having 50 vitality and 25 crit damage, is the way to kind of judge it, and then you pull up the other piece. But movement speed on a ring is, maybe that appeals to somebody, but I'm not one of them. Nope. Too low. It feels pretty low to be a Magic Find Amulet. Um, if that was a damage range instead of just a minimum damage, it might have a shot. But I'm pretty sure people looking for a Magic Amulet are going to want a higher number than 29. But two of those affixes are really nice, just not enough. But I'd like to pull that one up. Nothing here. Thorns and health globes and cold resist. Just drag what could have been a potentially, if you could reset this, if it played like 5-card stud in poker, keep your 2 cards of strength and vitality and trade in 3 new cards to the dealer. Be pretty nice. In WoW you've got your reforging component for your epic gear. Something along the lines of this would be pretty decent. Like every level 62 or 63 piece that you find has a singular trade-in available over the entire lifespan of the piece. So, if you're the person who got it dropped from a monster, you could roll that dice and, trade in a minority of the number of affixes, like some sort of rule, like, if it's 4 affixes, you can roll the dice again on one of the affixes. If it's 5, you can roll the dice on 2, and maybe if it's 6, you can, I don't know, roll the dice on maybe 3. If it's like a perfect 6 affix item, you could roll the dice on 3. Those numbers are kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things, but the idea is you have a singular lifetime option to re-roll a minority of the affixes on an item, and you just get to let the game basically, recreate that item, keeping some. You just put little check boxes. The little diamond shapes could just turn into circles, and you check in, check off the ones you want to keep, and then hit re-roll or whatever. And the interesting thing for the economy there would be unrolled items would have a higher value than rolled items. Somebody that's already taken that chance, already used up that singular, you could call it a fate charge or something, put a little flavor into it. And so you'd have kind of 2 tiers of items in the auction house, and people that might want to, really like that aspect of re-rolling items that's going to be a little more valuable to them. You can ask a little more for them. They might have higher resale value if you find a perfect item and you don't have any need to use that re-roll yourself, but you're going to upgrade eventually. It's like always keeping the covers, on your new car on the floor, the carpet covers and stuff. Do you keep the plastic lining on the back of your iPad the whole time? Are you planning on maintaining a high resale value? And that would be a really interesting aspect to the gear. And it would do away with a lot of it really would not solve problems for the items, but it would give the appearance of giving you a little bit more choice in the game, which is exactly what Blizzard wants to do here if they're smart. They want to give the notion of control back to the players a bit. And it's still just, no one really knows how bad your chances are of getting a good item. And nothing puts it in perspective like doing an entire inventory full of stuff like this and not getting anything good. But Little options like that give you the illusion of control is exactly the type of small changes and the fantasy of customization that the game has been missing because they've been neutralizing everything and taking the RPG out of the action RPG aspect of this game. Anyway, definitely something that I think would be a great addition to the game. It's present in other Blizzard games. You don't have to call it the same thing. It can operate differently, but I think it would work really well. Alright, low numbers on this knife, but it's got some intelligence, got some attack speed, and it's got a reduced level requirement, which is why I'm talking about this item. And it'd be a good example to show. 527 or whatever it was isn't anything at level 60, but when you're fresh into the 50s and you've got some boring leveling ahead of you, it has some real potential. Too low here, nothing to pick it up. Pretty bad. I feel like I lose twice if I have to talk about and waste breath on a bad item in addition to farming it. It's like they just screwed me again. Really low competing primaries. Oops. Strength and dex and fire resist, nothing to speak of. Nowadays on pants and belt and shoulders, you really want at least a primary vitality and resist all. Nice primary here in the strength, but there's nothing else. 279, it's got beautiful stats otherwise. It's got natural crit, socket, 200 vitality. If this had life on hit, you know, or a reduced level requirement, pretty fun. Strength, magic find, and movement speed. What a waste. If this had 5% more magic find, and you know that health globes was vitality, they're, you know, it'd be decent. You can get 100 grand for it. Strength, resist all, crit damage, and magic find. Numbers are low on everything except the crit damage, but that potentially can sell. Low damage numbers, no intelligence, no vitality, and Witch Doctors run with low enough life that a 5% modifier really isn't going to do anything. Health globes, crowd control reduction, and gold. Just really wasted affixes. Nothing here. Empty chest. Triple primaries. Ugh, really unfortunate. It's if just one of those primaries was a vitality, this would be pretty sweet. Crit damage, magic find, resist all, and your choice of primaries. Still worth looking up because despite the competitive primaries, you've still got 4 affixes that work well together. You've got a primary and crit damage helping the DPS, and then you've got a decent resist all. It might just be enough to float it where somebody could consider that they're sacrificing the other affixes for the magic find. 34 is a moderate range. The vitality is not horrible. The resist all is really nice. The physical singular is great. But whether you choose strength or dex, it's a pretty low number. But irregardless, you've got 4 stats that work, and 4 is what will sell. Even if something's low, I think 4 affixes is pretty alright. Lightning resist, armor, durability loss. Wow. If this was cold damage, I'd take a picture of it. Dex and vitality and lightning resist. Yeah, no thanks. Nothing good here. Too low. Too low. Good strength, good resist all, good life, 19% chance to block. It's got no crit. Ugh. I don't know what something like this is worth with no crit, so I'm gonna find out. Maybe there's some suckers that just don't care and I can find a buyer. But you post something like that in trade channel in game and you're just gonna get laughed at. For my current gear, I've got a couple pieces that I'm looking to buy on bid that are ending tonight. I'm looking to replace my boots, my chest, my amulet, and my helm, and potentially a ring. The amulet alone should shoot me very close to 60k DPS. I'm going to be adding about 50 to 60 crit damage, and maybe attack speed on top of that. My build really doesn't benefit too much from attack speed, only the Arcane Torrent is going to gain something from that. But the blizzards I lay down and the Hydra, just not going to see much of a difference. Alright, this should be the last little group. Oh yeah, and sorry again for all the 15-minute limits on these videos for YouTube. This is a separate channel from my other channels I've had to create, and I still can't find a way to get the YouTube partner access that I have to apply to a new channel yet. So, such a pain in the ass interface-wise. But I've made things into playlists, and I'll continue to do so. So hopefully that'll limit the amount of backtracking you guys have to do. And everything's titled with its part number, so. I'm just IDing this all real quick so I can go back through. Okay. Reduced melee, dexterity, and 2 sockets. I mean, even if you equalize out the dexterity with a couple vitality gems there's nothing worthwhile here. Reduced damage from melee really is going to have to be a bonus affix, your 4th or your 5th, that's beneficial on the piece. It cannot be your 3rd. So. And I definitely would consider whether you have 1, 2, or 3 slots. That's just one affix. Rarely is somebody going to want to split the color of gems in it. And one socket is basically half of an affix, you know. Unless you're going to waste all your money, you're kind of topping out at like 46 on a primary stat or vitality. And that really is a low roll for an affix. If it's unacceptable to you in an affix, why should it be acceptable to you as a socket? So 2 sockets, you can consider a moderate affix on a piece, and 3 sockets is, like a high roll of anything else. The damage numbers here aren't horrible on this offhand, but that being said, there's no intelligence. Um,